Sharp 7 o'clock. Let us get started. I want to thank each and every one of you for being in this webinar at this hour, and in the next 60 minutes, we are going to learn many important things about our breath. But before we get started, why don't we get to know each other a little bit? And over the course of the next 60 minutes, I want to get to know you better. So let me start with myself. I am Venkat Rao and I am from Hyderabad. Can you type in the chat where you are from, please? Just type in the chat where you are from, so that way I know. All right, from Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata, Maharashtra, Bhubaneswar, Ahmedabad, Nagpur, Ahmedabad, Nasik, Guntur, Tamil Nadu, Talcher, Indore, UP. Wow. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, and let me ask you a related question. Is this the, I'm going to launch a poll. Is this the first time you are seeing me? If you have seen me before, click on A. If you have seen me before, click on A. If you have not seen me before, click on B. If you have not seen me before, click on B. If you have seen me before, click on A. And let the poll results keep coming in. All right, I am ending the poll, and here and sharing the results. About 88% of you are seeing me for the first time, and about 12% of you are seeing me again. And for those of you who are seeing me for the first time, welcome. I really am happy that you have decided to invest your time in attending the webinar of a person that you didn't know before. And for those of you who are coming back, I welcome you back. I'm glad to see you back in the webinar. So let us look at what is it that we are going to learn over the course of the next 60 minutes. We are going to cover three things in this webinar. The first is how our breath affects our physical, emotional, and spiritual health. And really, breath is the hidden source, the root source of our energy. So we are going to look into that, but we are not just going to talk theory. We are going to go into two hands-on practices that are going to help you immediately. So the first hands-on practice that you will learn is a breath practice that will help you drive away stress and anxiety. And the second hands-on practice that you are going to learn is how to replace a unhealthy breath pattern, and we are going to cover that, what an unhealthy breath pattern means, but how to replace that with a healthier breath pattern that will give us immediate and tangible benefits at many levels in the physical body, in the emotional mind, and in our soul. So these are the three things that we are going to learn over the course of 60 minutes, next 60 minutes. And I very deeply acknowledge each and every one of you for being present in this webinar. I know you could have been doing any number of things in your life, but you have chosen to be here. And to me, that tells me that you are interested in investing your time in learning something new, and you want to take the quality of your life to the next level. And I respect that. And I, on my part, want to make sure that every moment that you spend in this webinar is going to be well worth your time. But you and I have to work together for you to gain the maximum benefit out of this 60 minutes. So I need three commitments from you for the duration of this webinar. The first commitment is to stay completely focused and concentrated on this webinar without any distractions. Second is to engage with me fully. By engage with me, participate in the chats, participate in the polls. Those are the two means in which we are communicating so that it can be a two-way conversation, and also participate actively in the hands-on practices that are going to benefit you very much. And the third commitment is for you to stay on until the end. And if you follow these three commitments for the duration of this webinar, I guarantee you that you are going to walk away with something new that you can apply immediately for your benefit. So, is that a deal? Is that an agreement with you? If it is a deal, why don't you and I make a deal? Why can you type in a chat if you are agreeable to these three commitments? Because on my part, I am making a deal with you. Yeah. All right. Type a D in the chat. Agree. A or D, whatever works better for you. D, deal. All right. A and D, A and D. Good. Wonderful. Thank you. I and in turn, I am making a deal also with you that I will do my very best to make sure that you walk away with something very valuable. So, right now, what I'm going to do, I am turning off the chat. By turning off the chat, you can still write to me, but only I can see that and others cannot see that. So that way we all can be focused on our discussion on this breath talk. And from time to time, I will open up the chat. All right. So with that out of the way, let us actually start delving into our breath, conscious breathing, what it means. But before I move forward, I want to share a little bit about myself and my motivation. Why is it that I'm doing such kinds of webinars and sharing the practices? So that way you get to understand or know me a little bit better. Even though I cannot see you at this moment, I am assuming that pretty much everyone in this webinar is facing challenges on a everyday basis. These challenges can range from maybe you're having challenges in your professional life where you're trying to meet the expectations of the job, or maybe you're on the phone during off hours with those overseas clients or with that demanding boss. Maybe it is the peer pressure, maybe it is the commute, but all of these are real challenges in our professional life where we are trying to aspire to go to the next level. Or perhaps you may be facing challenges in your financial life where you're trying to have a comfortable life, and that is proving to be a challenge. Or maybe you're having challenges in your personal and family life where you may be having difficulties in your relationship with a loved one, or maybe even having difficulties in your relationship with your own self. Any number of challenges that we face on a everyday basis, isn't it? And what do all of these challenges ultimately result in? They manifest themselves as illnesses or imbalances in our physical body, in our mind, and in our soul. For example, we may be facing physical illnesses such as high blood pressure or heart related conditions, or improper sleep patterns, fatigue, uh, chronic body pains. All of these physical illnesses are so common these days that we hardly turn our head when we hear that someone is having these problems. Or the challenges that we are facing on an everyday basis may manifest themselves in our mind, in our emotional body, where we may be facing stress and anxiety, or perhaps depression or anger or sadness. We carry so much of emotional baggage within us, don't we? Or the challenges that we face may manifest in ourselves being totally disconnected with who we truly are, and we may be unhappy at heart and so disconnected with our own inner self. Now tell me, I want to understand each of you a little bit better. If you are facing any of these challenges that I mentioned, type a me in the chat. Type a me in the chat if you're facing any of these challenges on a everyday basis. Type me in the chat, and I see many of you typing a me. Yes, indeed. Indeed, these problems are such a commonplace, isn't it? All right. And I care about these problems. I very deeply care about these problems. And the reason I say that I understand and care about all of these issues that we are facing on an everyday basis is because I myself, in my life, I have faced many of these challenges, and perhaps at an even more intense level. So let me share a little bit about myself. I might look very different right now, but let me actually share that I used to work as a software engineer. I was working in California, in the Silicon Valley, California, across many high-tech companies, and I worked there from 87 to 2005. In fact, one of the job positions that I held was at Sun Microsystems, where I was part of the engineering team that created and developed the Java programming language, which is so widely used on the internet today. So I come from that kind of a corporate background, but my profession, I at the peak of my profession, I walked away from my career because of an inner calling, and I became a full-time student of spirituality. I came back to India in 2005, and for the past 16, 17 years I have been a full-time student of spirituality. So I have been both in the corporate world and in the spiritual world, and I understand the challenges because I myself have faced many of them when I was in my career, or even when I was walking on the spiritual path. I faced many challenges within: stress and anxiety, depression. I faced all of that. Depression nearly destroyed me. I was devastated. I hit rock bottom at many levels: at emotional level, physical level, spiritual level, even financially. So I understand all of these challenges, but fortunately for me, I have healed myself from the inside out using inner transformational practices such as meditation, such as conscious breathing, such as mindfulness. And I have learned all of these from yogis and masters, and that really helped me heal from the inside out. Because you know what? Many of us, even though we may appear to be normal or even successful from a outside perspective, the inner world may be different, and we are all really what I call wounded soldiers. We are carrying hidden wounds in our body, in our heart, in our mind, in our soul, and that needs so much of a deep healing touch, and only we can give that deep healing touch by through transforming ourselves at a very deep level. So that is my brief journey, and the cornerstone of the transformational practices for me has been conscious breathing. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today: conscious breathing. So, before we go into conscious breathing, we all need to have a baseline about where we stand. So, for the next 60 seconds, I want you to follow my instructions, because that gives us a very good reference point about where you stand. So, what I want you to do is this: don't change how you're breathing, but simply bring your awareness to your breath. It is very important that you do not change your current pattern of breathing. Keep breathing in the exact same way, but simply observe your breath. Is your breath shallow? By shallow breath, what I mean is as you're inhaling and as you're exhaling, is the movement of air in the neck, shoulder, and upper chest regions only? Or do you have a deeper breath? Is your belly expanding when you inhale and contracting as you exhale? Simply observe your breath without changing how you're breathing. Great. Now that you have observed your breath, let me launch a poll and you can share with me what your breath pattern is. So I am going to launch a poll. Here is the poll. Which category does your breath belong to? If your breath is shallow, where the air movement is in your neck and shoulder areas, click on the first option, A. If you have a deeper breath where your belly is expanding on inhalation and contracting on exhalation, click on B. But if you couldn't focus and observe your breath, click on C. A or B or C. Let me end the poll in 3, 2, 1, and let me share the results. The house is fairly divided. 46% of you have a shallow breath. 40% of you have a deeper breath, and 14% of you have a could not focus your breath, could not focus and could not observe your breath, and that is perfectly fine. So 46% shallow breath. Okay, so let us now understand what shallow breath means and what does a deep breath mean and what is the implication of that. I also want to point out that when scientists and breathologists, they have done random tests with people and asked them to report what their current breath pattern is, and they have done widespread studies, they have found that 80% of the people have a shallow breath and only 20% have a deeper breath. But the question in your mind might be, how come Venkat in this webinar a higher percentage, higher than 20% have a deeper breath? And the reason for that is simple. We are all pretty much in a relaxed state, sitting in a webinar, talking about breath. And before the start of the webinar, there was some relaxing music going on. And naturally, our breath, when we are relaxed, it becomes deeper. But despite your breath being deep right now, if you randomly observe your breath at sometime tomorrow, chances are that it could be a shallow breath. So let us understand what shallow breath means, what deep breath means. A shallow breath, where the movement of air is in the neck, shoulder, and upper chest regions only, it is both unhealthy and inefficient. Unhealthy because it is bringing in the least amount of air into the lungs, and inefficient because it is consuming the most amount of energy. Yes, even when we are breathing, we have to consume energy. So shallow breath is both inefficient and unhealthy. Why is it unhealthy? Because shallow breath introduces two kinds of stress within us. The first kind of stress is the physical stress, where it is building up stress in each and every cell of our body. And the second type of stress that a shallow breath introduces is the mental stress, where we are developing that emotional stress in the mind. So obviously, shallow breath is not something that we should be having on a default basis. How about deep breath? What does a deep breath mean? What does it look like? And to understand that, we need to really go all the way back when we were infants. Or those of you who have small children, you might have noticed how their breathing is. Let us look at how the breath of this infant baby is. As the baby is inhaling, the belly is expanding. As the baby is exhaling, the belly is contracting. That is a deeper belly breath. This belly breath is natural and healthy because it brings in the most amount of air into the lungs with the least amount of energy. This is exactly the way nature has intended for us to breathe at all times, and that is why infants have this kind of a breath. But unfortunately, as we grow up, we develop wrong patterns of breathing, so that for the majority of the people, their default and unconscious breath pattern is a neck and shallow breath, where the movement of air is only here. And that is exactly what we need to replace with a healthier belly breath pattern. And that is exactly what you are going to learn in this webinar as a practical hands-on practice. And the second hands-on practice is where you learn how to use our breath in order to drive away stress and anxiety, or deal with stressful situations, or have that inner focus. So these are the two practices that we are going to learn today. So let me engage with you for just a moment. I am curious, how many of you currently have holistic practices? By holistic practices, I mean a combination of yogasanas, conscious breathing or pranayama, of meditation, of mindfulness, of conscious relaxation. If you have uh, many of such holistic practices and you have practiced consistently without fail over the last 30 days, click on A in the poll that I have launched, or click on B if you have maybe one practice but you haven't been regular in the last 30 days. Click on B, or click on C if you currently do not have any of the holistic practices, A or B or C. All right, let me end the poll in 3, 2, 1. Ending the poll. Let me share the results. Look at this, 62% of us do not have holistic practices at the current moment, and I completely understand that, because we are all caught up in meeting the challenges of everyday life. A small minority of us have a regular practice over the last 30 days, practicing many of these holistic practices, and some of us have not been as regular in the last 30 days, and that is perfectly fine. So that gives me an idea about where we are. So let us now look into a breath practice that really helps us practically on an everyday basis. I know today stress and anxiety are such common problems, and we often find ourselves to be victims, or consider ourselves to be victims of the emotions that are going on in our mind. Wouldn't it be wonderful if there was a simple magic trick that immediately helps us change our emotions, that helps us de-stress ourselves and come into a much more relaxed state. If there was such a kind of a practice that can change ourselves instantly, wouldn't that be a helpful thing for us? If you agree to that, type yes. If you think that such a kind of a practice where we can change our emotions and deal with our stress, if there was such a kind of magic practice that it would be helpful, type yes in the chat if you're looking forward for such a kind of practice. And I want to engage with you. I want you to be engaged with me so that it is not a one way. All right, many of you are saying yes, and I respect that, and that is exactly what you are going to learn right away. All right, very good. So now, many of you may have noticed that there is a direct correlation between our state of mind and our breath. You would intuitively know that. For example, when someone is stressed out or anxious or angry or agitated, how is the breath of that person? The breath is shallow, it is irregular, it is fast. Whereas the same person, if they are in a relaxed state, how is the breath? The breath is deeper, it is slower, it is harmonious. So obviously the state of our mind has a direct effect on our breath. But are you aware that the reverse is also true? We all know how difficult it is to control the state of mind, how difficult it is to control the mind, our thoughts and our emotions. But by controlling our breath, by changing how we breathe, we can change how we feel, our emotions, our thoughts, our feelings, everything we can change just by exerting control over our breath. And that is exactly what the practice that you are going to learn right now. This practice helps us do two things. One, it helps us drive away stress and anxiety and come into a much more relaxed state. And it also helps us become much more focused and concentrated. The practice is called extended exhalation. In this practice, the exhalation is intentionally kept longer than the inhalation. We are going to go into that practice in a couple of minutes. And I'm just going to give you some pointers before we actually start the practice. So the exhalation is longer than the inhalation. In our practice, we will start with the inhalation of 4 seconds, exhalation of 5 seconds. Inhalation of 4 seconds, exhalation of 6 seconds. Then we extend the inhalation to 5, extend the exhalation to 7. And then inhalation for 5 seconds, exhalation to 8 seconds. So we will go through this practice right now so that you can experientially know the impact of this kind of a practice. Now, when you inhale, I want you to breathe into your belly, expand your belly, and then breathe into your chest, expanding your chest. And as you exhale, make sure that the exhalation is smooth and long and slow. Now, when we do this practice, if you are not able to inhale or exhale for the designated number of seconds, don't overstretch yourself. Simply revert to your normal breath. Also, it is very important that your mind is completely focused on your breath without running away on any other thought. And I will guide you through, I will tell you when to inhale, when to exhale. I will keep count of the number of seconds, and I will do the count like saying Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4 for 4 seconds, and I'll say exhale. So I will keep the count. So if you are ready, let us get into the extended exhalation practice so that you can feel the difference. I want you all to follow my instructions for the next 4 minutes. Right now, wherever you're sitting, I want you to sit straight, but make sure that your body is comfortable. I want you to close your eyes, and with your eyes closed, take a deep inhalation. Inhale and exhale, bringing all of your attention to your breath. And again, inhale and exhale, completely keeping your focus entirely on your breath. Exhale, and let us start. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, 6, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6. Inhale, 5, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale, 7, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale, 8, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7, Om 8. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7, Om 8. Last round. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7, Om 8. Now, still with your eyes closed, just be in the present moment. And whenever you are ready, gently open your eyes. I hope all of you have had a chance to go into this extended exhalation practice. This is a practice that you can use any time of the day to decompress yourself, to drive away that stress, and to become more focused. But instead of me telling you the effects of this practice, why don't you tell me? I'm launching a poll. If after this extended exhalation practice, if you feel more calmer and relaxed, click on A. If it made no difference, click on B. Or if you couldn't do the practice, click on C. A or B or C. I am ending the poll, and let me share the results. Look at this, 80% of you have reported that you are feeling calmer and more relaxed after this practice. And this is a practice that you now have in your hands anytime during the day. If you are facing stressful situations because of whatever is happening outside, or because of your own patterns of thinking, or if you feel very diffused and confused, and you want more focus and concentration, just take 2 or 3 minutes time out. That is all what it takes. And intentionally and purposefully practice this extended in exhalation practice, and it really works because it is activating the parasympathetic nervous system within us, and that gives a signal to the body and to the brain to really calm down, so that we are able to become much more focused, much more centered. So this is a practical breath practice that you have in your pocket right now. All right. So this was the first practice that I said that you would walk away with. And the second practice that I said that you will learn is how to replace that unhealthy, shallow breath with a deeper belly breath. And we are going to get into that practice in just a few minutes, a couple of minutes. But before we get into that practice, it is important for us to understand why is it that there is so much importance to breath, and how come breath plays a important role in our physical health, in our emotional health. And to understand that, let me ask you a question. Let us suppose that you have a precious resource, maybe gold or maybe a whole bunch of money. Would we simply throw the money in the streets without any good reason? Would we simply waste it away? Type in the chat if we would throw away this money. Simply just throw away. Type in the chat. Would we do that? No, 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 not at all, not at all. And I totally agree with you. Of course we wouldn't. Of course we wouldn't throw away the money. And the reason we wouldn't throw away the money is because this is a precious resource. Now, if you agree that you wouldn't throw away a precious resource like money, then you should really pay attention to this. We are wasting a resource that is much more precious than money, and we are wasting it every minute of our life, every breath, throughout our lifetime. Now you may be asking, what is that resource that we are wasting that is even more precious than money or gold? That resource is the power of our breath. Yes, it is the power of our breath. So, for us to understand about the power of our breath, let us look at something that is making heads turn these days. This is a Tesla car. It is it runs on electricity. It is the most amazing vehicle, most well engineered machine in the world today. But let me ask you this. If the voltage of electricity at our home is improper, it is not full, can we charge and use the Tesla? Type in the chat what you think. No, 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 no. And of course, I completely agree with you that we cannot charge and use the Tesla. Absolutely not. Now, the Tesla is a very, very well engineered machine, and not many of us, in fact, I would even guess every one of us here in this webinar do not have access to a Tesla. But here is the good news. We all have access to a creation that is even more well engineered than a Tesla. We all have access to something that is millions of times much more powerful than even the most powerful computer or the most amazing invention in the world. And each one of us has access to such a kind of a entity, the most well engineered entity in the whole universe. Now, in the chat, let me know what that might be that we all have access to that is even more well engineered than anything else that we can conceive. Think of what is it? Our body, our brain, power of breath, human mind, human body. Yeah, yeah, I see many of the answers, breath and soul. And so, yes, we are generally there. It is the most amazing creation in this whole wide universe is a combination of this body, which has intelligence built into each and every cell. It is a combination of this physical body and our mind and our soul. And we all fortunately have access to all of them, right? Now, if we have a Tesla, our expectation is that the Tesla runs trouble-free because it is a very well engineered machine, isn't it? So if our expectation of the Tesla is that it runs trouble-free and efficiently because it is a well engineered machine, isn't it wrong to expect that this body and this mind and this soul, which are even more well engineered than a Tesla, that they run efficiently, that we are free from illnesses, that the mind is free from stress and anxiety, and it is empty? Isn't it reasonable for us to expect that such a powerful mechanism, such a powerful entity run trouble-free? Hasn't nature designed this body and this mind and this soul to be healthy in the body, healthy in the mind, be stress and anxiety free, be free of any of the emotional baggages, and be really connected with our own inner self and happy? Hasn't nature intended for us to be that way? Type, if you agree with that, type A in the chat if you agree with the statement that nature has really designed us to be trouble free, happy, healthy. Okay, yes, many of you, in fact, every one of you is indeed agreeing, and I am totally with you. But let us look at the reality of the situation. What is the reality of the situation? The reality is that physical illnesses have become such a commonplace, whether it is high blood pressure or heart related conditions or improper sleep patterns or fatigue, tiredness. All of those are such commonplace diseases. And in the mind, the most common problem today is us facing that stress and anxiety, or those emotional feelings that really bog us down, whether it is anger or sadness or uh, guilt or depression, whatever it is, and we feel so disconnected within ourselves. So if nature has intended for us to be healthy, trouble free, happy, stress free, why is the reality so different? Now, there can be any number of causes for that. I totally understand that. But oftentimes, there is one root cause. If we are able to identify that root cause, and if we are able to fix that root cause, it automatically fixes many of the problems that we are facing. It actually fixes the illnesses and imbalances in the body, in the mind, and in the soul. What is the common root cause? That common root cause is our inability to harness the power of our breath. We all think we are all, uh, we breathe every minute of our life, from the time that we were born to the time that we exit out of this body. In fact, without breath, there is no life. But is breathing only to keep us alive? No. There is a incredible power to breath, a vital energy to breath that we are not even conscious about, and therefore we do not harness the power of our breath. If only we understand about that power of breath, about the different kinds of breathing, and if we are able to harness that breath, if we are able to fix that root cause, it automatically leads us to have a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a healthy soul. That is the power of breath. Just like a Tesla, the Tesla needs electricity for it to run properly. Our body, our mind, and our soul, just like the Tesla needs that recharging, our body, mind, and soul need that recharging. And how do we recharge? A minor portion of that is coming from the food that we eat, or from the sunshine, but the majority of that recharging is happening from the air that we breathe. Such is the power that yogis have devised this whole science of conscious breathing, the pranayama. Prana means that vital life force, ayama, expansion. It is that which expands that life force. It is when that prana is insufficient within us, and when it is improperly distributed within the body, that is what leads to physical illnesses, and that is what leads to mental imbalances. The power of prana, it is so, so powerful. And if we can harness that, then we can really control our mind. We can control our thoughts. We can control our emotions. And that in itself is so powerful, because our lungs are a trainable organ. We can train them. So, talking about training our lungs and training our breath, let us now come into the second part, second practical exercise. Remember, I said we are going to learn how to replace that shallow breath, unhealthy shallow breath pattern with a default belly breath, so that even unconsciously, if we have that deeper belly breath, that alone goes a long way in us having a healthy body and mind and be stress free. Just that one practice. See, we are breathing all the time anyways. Why don't we just train ourselves to breathe in the right way? So let me engage with you. Are you looking forward to learning this practice about how to replace our shallow breath, if we have one, with a deeper and healthier belly breath? Are you looking forward to learning this practice? Great. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. Good. I am glad if you are looking forward to that. I am looking forward to going through how we can do that. All right. Very good. So there are two steps to replacing a shallow breath with a deeper belly breath. The first step, it is to come into awareness, raise our awareness about our current breath pattern. And in a sense, we have already done that at the beginning of this webinar, where we simply observed our breath and we observed whether we are having a shallow breath or a deeper breath, and that in itself has raised our awareness about our current breath, isn't it? But just that one observation is not enough. We need to consistently look at how our breath pattern is. So my suggestion is, over the next 30 days, if we are really serious in replacing the shallow breath with a deeper belly breath, then over the next 30 days, catch yourself at 5 random times and simply observe your breath, whether it is a shallow breath or a deeper breath. How much time does it take for us to observe our breath? Just catch ourselves and observe our breathing. Maybe 5 seconds. That's all it takes. And what I want you to do is to be very methodical and record your findings in a journal, because when you are recording that, when you do this regularly and when you record it, when you're methodical, that sets you apart from everyone else, and that raises your awareness about your breath. So I would suggest that you record this in a journal. But don't worry, don't worry about how to create a journal and record that, because I have a special gift, for a free gift for each and everyone who is in the webinar today. What I have done, I have created a editable PDF document in which you can record your breath patterns, and I'm going to give this PDF document as my own way of gifting it to you. So let us actually look at how that editable PDF breath awareness journal looks like. It is a very simple PDF document, fields for everything. It has entries for 30 days, and for each day, each time that you catch yourself at random times, you can record your breath. Note down the date here, and if you are having a shallow neck breath, note down NB. And if you are having a deeper breath, belly breath, note down BB, and then save this file on your device. As simple as that. So I'm going to give you this PDF document, and the way I'm going to give you this PDF document is I'm going to share a link. When you click on that link, it will take you to my website landing page, in which you enter your email address, and immediately you will get a auto reply. In that auto reply, click on confirm my email button, and you will get another email with this breath awareness journal, which is a valuable tool for you. So let me share that link, but before I share that link, I'm going to share that link, but I do not want you to be distracted, because the next part is even more important. So I'm going to share the link right away. I want you to click on that link and let it open in the browser, but don't enter your email address right now. Do that after the webinar, because right now we are going to go into the more important part. So just make sure that you Okay, here is my landing page. And let me share that on YouTube and Facebook also. Okay, here is the landing page. So just make sure that you open it up in a browser and then come back, because right now we are going to go into the more important practice, which is how to replace that shallow breath with a deeper belly breath. Now, I want you to remember a something that you learned very consciously. Maybe it was driving a bike or driving a car, and just recall how conscious you were when you were initially learning how to drive it. You were conscious about maintaining that balance, or when to press that accelerator or release that clutch or shift that gear. But as you got used to that, you no longer think about that consciously. The muscle memory has taken over, and all of those actions are reflexive. And that is exactly what we need to do. We need to train the muscle memory within us so that every time we breathe, it has to be a belly breath. So the way we do that is we practice it consciously. And the way that we practice it is very simple. As simple as, when you inhale, consciously and intentionally expand the belly as though you were breathing and inflating the belly. And as you exhale, contract the belly. Expand and contract on inhalation and exhalation. And for added emphasis, we will do that practice in just a minute, but for added emphasis, you can put both of your hands on your belly, so that on each inhalation, as the belly is expanding, you can feel the hands move out. And as you are exhaling and the belly is contracting, you can feel the hands move in. We are going to do the practice of with a 4 seconds inhalation and a 4 seconds exhalation. And after the practice, I will tell you how to take it further. So be fully engaged in this. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to sit straight, sitting straight but yet comfortable in the body. I want you to bring your attention to your breath. Now, take both of your hands and place them on your belly. And bring your awareness, bring your mind completely into the belly. Purposefully expanding your belly on inhalation and contracting it on exhalation. Let us start with an exhalation. Exhale, contract the belly, and inhale. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, contract the belly. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, expand the belly. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, contract the belly. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, expand. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, contract. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, expand the belly. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, contract the belly. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Last round, inhale, expand, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, contract the belly, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. And still with your eyes closed, take your hands off the belly, but continue breathing in the same way, expanding your belly on inhalation and contracting it on exhalation. All right, and whenever you are ready, open your eyes. So that was the conscious belly breath practice. Here is how you can practice it. Until your breath becomes a belly breath unconsciously, practice this conscious belly breathing 3 or 4 times in the day at different times, each time making the intention that I am practicing belly breath. Let this belly breath become my normal unconscious pattern of breathing. Each time that you practice only takes 3 minutes, at the most 4 minutes, whatever time that you can spend, that is good enough. But do this conscious belly breath practice. And how do you know when belly breath has become your default and unconscious pattern of breathing? Remember that breath awareness journal, that editable PDF document? If you are consistently recording your breath whenever you catch yourself at random times and observing your breath, if it is consistently belly breath for 10 consecutive days, that is when you know, okay, now belly breath has become my default unconscious pattern, and at that time you can drop this conscious belly breath practice. If you do just this, you are going to really benefit in many ways if you only apply that discipline to practice this consciously. So we have looked at 2 practical breath practices: the extended exhalation, which helps us deal with stress and anxiety and helps us become much more focused, and we have also looked at the conscious belly breath, which helps us replace the unhealthy, shallow breath with a deeper, healthier belly breath. But you know what? These 2 practices are just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many breath practices that we cannot go into right now. And there are holistic practices like meditation and practice of mindfulness that really help us transform from the inside out. Why do they help us transform from the inside out? It is because all of these practices, they work at a very deep level, whether it is the conscious breathing practice or whether it is meditation practices or mindfulness practices or conscious relaxation. They work at many different levels. See, all of us, we really think that we are just this physical body, or maybe we may think that we are just this mind, but there are so many layers of our existence. The physical body is the outermost layer, uh, called the Annamaya Kosha, and then there is a breath body, an energy body, and then there is a emotional body, there is a wisdom body, there is a bliss body. So many layers to our existence, but we are often in this realm of physical existence only. And only when the changes start happening at all of these levels, all of these layers, that is when we can really have a healthy body, a mind that is free of stress and anxiety, a mind that can stay focused and concentrated. And we all know how important focus and concentration is in today's world. So all of these holistic practices, they work at such a deep level. And I'm very happy to be offering a 7-day live interactive program with me, a live interactive journey with me. And uh, during the 7 days, we meet each day for 75 minutes, where I take you through all of these holistic practices: conscious breathing, meditation, conscious relaxation, and practice of mindfulness that changes from the inside out to have a healthy body, healthy mind and soul, and to stay focused and concentrated. And I am inviting you to join me in this 7-day journey. Now, I know that not everyone in this webinar would sign up and continue the conversation further with me. I totally understand and I respect that. So I'm speaking to only those of you who are serious, who really want to advance in life. And if you want to have that healthy body and a mind that is free of stress or anxiety, all of that emotional baggage, so that no matter what, we can remain centered and focused. If you want to develop a unflickering focus and unprecedented concentration, so that you can take that quantum leap in every area of your life to be much more successful, I'm only speaking to those people who want to continue the conversation with me and who want to join me in this 7-day program, because I know it will benefit each and every one of you. So let me share about that program. That program, it is called Yogic Breath for Healthy Body, Mind and Soul. It is a 7-day program, Yogic Breath for Healthy Body, Mind and Soul. So let us look into what this program is offering. But before I go into the details about the 7-day program, let me just share this testimonial from Dr. Atul Shah, who is a practicing cardiologist for the last 41 days. And very recently, he took this 7-day program with me, and he said, in his own words, I realized that conscious breathing is one of the most important skills for our emotional stability, because without emotional stability, it is not possible to avoid any lifestyle diseases. And I feel happy seeing this coming from a authority such as Dr. Atul Shah. So let us look into what this program is, what this 7-day program is. Like I said, 7 days live meeting. Right now, I'm not able to see you, but during the 7 days, we will be seeing each other face to face. Every day we meet for 75 minutes from 6:45 to 8 o'clock in the morning. A 7-day program. It starts on a Monday and ends on a Sunday. And I have batches running alternate weeks. I do not know how long I will be doing these weekly batches, but for now, I have 2 batches scheduled. One for the 29th of November, runs through December 5th, and another batch starting on 13th of December. So it is a 7-day program, 75 minutes each single day, 6:45 to 8 o'clock in the morning, with 2 batches, November 29th and December 13th batch. And 2 days prior to the start of the program, there is a live interactive orientation meeting, an onboarding meeting, where I talk about the do's and the don'ts and how to better prepare yourself in the body and in the mind, so that you derive full benefit out of this 7-day program. And that is also going to be a live interactive session. And you will also be part of a WhatsApp group that is specific to the batch, so that you can interact with me, ask any questions regarding the practices that you are learning and I will go into what is it exactly that you're going to learn during the 7 days and what a typical 75-minute session is. But this WhatsApp group is there for community support, and this is where you turn in your assignments that I give every day. Yes, I give small assignments that take a limited time so that we are able to fully apply what we are learning and integrate what we are learning and practicing in the morning 75 minutes. So this is what is included in the program. Now, the question that you may be having is, okay, Venkat, how do I sign up for this program? In case you are really serious about investing your time and investing your energy so that you gain the benefits. What are the benefits that you're going to gain? Very simply, a healthy body, a stable mind free of any stress or anxiety, and being peaceful within, and to have that stable mind that can focus and concentrate in a way that we have never experienced before. So nutshell, those are the benefits. If you are serious about those benefits, let us look into what it takes for you to join the program. I am making this program to be very affordable so that it can, as many people as possible can benefit out of this program. So the investment is 750 rupees for the 7-day program, and I call this as a investment, not as an expense, because you are investing something and you are going to learn and practice something that will be there for the rest of our life, your life. Money is so transitory. We spend money on so many things and nothing stays with us. But when you learn these holistic practices, and I will talk about what is it that you're going to learn and how you're going to benefit, but that is something that can stay with you all the time. When you change from the inside out, that change is permanent. When you change on the inside, the outer world will change, because the outer world is a reflection of our inner world, and we need to really change ourselves at a cellular level and at many levels within the mind. And these are the holistic practices that I will guide you through that will help you. So with that said, let me share the links. Um, again, there are two batches, one starting on November 29th and another starting on December 13th, 75 minutes each day. So let me share the InstaMojo links for both of these batches. And by the way, if you have any questions regarding the program or regarding whatever we discussed today, you can type in the chat. Okay, here is the InstaMojo link for the November 29th to December 5th batch, and let me share that on YouTube and Facebook, those of you who are watching me on YouTube and Facebook. And here is the link, InstaMojo link for December 13th to 19th. All right, there you have both of the links. There you have both of the links. Okay, I see some questions coming in the chat. Feel free to ask me any questions that you have regarding this program, and I will cover exactly what is it that you are going to learn during the 7 days, how you are going to benefit, and what a typical 75-minute session looks like. I must also let you know that we are going to keep this webinar open only for the next 20 minutes, strictly for the next 20 minutes. And this offer is open only for the next 20 minutes. So if you're thinking about joining, now is the window of opportunity for you to really get the benefits. So let me share what is it that we are going to cover during the 7 days. Uh, so there are four distinct areas that we are going to cover. And before I go into that, here is a testimonial that Praveen Vadalkar shared with me recently. He and I were having a discussion, and he said, Venkat, I'm feeling low energy in my body, and I'm feeling a lack of focus. And I suggested, take this program, and he has benefited from that. And he said, after the program, I have an increased focus and energy. My empty mind chatter has stopped, and I feel a deeper connection with my inner self. And it is that empty mind chatter that consumes the most amount of energy. It is a huge drain on our mental resources and induces that stress and anxiety within us. So I'm glad that Praveen Vadalkar has benefited from this 7-day program, and I want you to benefit this program. But the only way that you will benefit is if you are willing to invest the time investment of 75 minutes every day for 7 days, and the monetary investment of 750 rupees, because unless we invest something, we cannot get the returns. So all right, with that, let me let us look into what is it that we are going to cover. Conscious breathing or pranayama is going to be the primary focus of that, but in addition to that, you are also going to learn a deep and effective meditation practice. And every single day I take you through a incremental and progressive journey towards that, so that at the end of 7 days you are actually going to have a very, very effective meditation. And we all know the benefits of meditation, how it can help us become focused and stress free. And every single day we are going to spend quite some time in the meditation practice, going deeper inwards. So we learn conscious breathing, which helps us have a healthy body, mind, and soul, and to develop that unprecedented focus and concentration. We also learn meditation. In addition to that, we learn proper relaxation. By proper relaxation, I mean, even though all of us have a full night's sleep, oftentimes when we wake up, we feel stressed out or lethargic, isn't it? And are even tired. And that is because the body and the mind, we have not trained the body and the mind to relax properly. And through conscious relaxation, we can really even a few minutes of practice of conscious relaxation really helps us relax at a deep level and heal the body and the mind. And in addition to conscious breathing, meditation, and relaxation, you are also going to practice mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is that unique ability for us to stay completely in the present moment with full awareness and full focus of whatever activity that we are doing. And that in itself is a practice of concentration, and that helps us come into a state of flow. These days we are all hearing about the state of flow. What does it mean? The state of flow means that we are able to accomplish things effortlessly, where we are able to accomplish much more in much little time, and that is what leads to that ultimate success. So when you combine conscious breathing with meditation and proper relaxation and the practice of mindfulness, these are the inner transformational practices that really take us to the next level in terms of having a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a peaceful soul, and to develop that unflickering focus and unprecedented concentration. So this is exactly what you're going to get. And I come from 3 decades of practice. I have been both in the corporate world and in the spiritual world, and I know how when we use these spiritual principles, these holistic practices, and apply them in our everyday life without changing any of our belief system or whatever we want to do. It is pure spiritual science, ladies and gentlemen, and science can never go wrong. Laws can never go wrong. Principles can never go wrong. And I know that if anyone who takes this 7-day program will be much further along than they have been previously. So if 750 rupees is not a big thing for you in terms of, if it is not a huge challenge, and if you really want to get ahead in this game of life, and if you want to have that healthy body, mind, and soul, I invite you to join. But I also know that not everyone may be serious. So that's why I'm only speaking to those of you who are apart from the others, in the sense that you want to get ahead. All right, any questions that you have about this 7-day program, type in the chat or in the Q&A, and I'm going to make sure that I address each and every one of them. I also want to let you know that very strictly in the next 13 minutes, I am going to end the webinar and the offer. Let me share the 2 links with you. This is the December 13th to December 19th link. December 13th to 19th link, and let me share the November 29th to December 5th link. This is the November 29th to December 5th link, and now I will come to answer any questions. By the way, if any one of you wants to pay through Phone Pay or Google Pay, I can give you that link as well. But when you go in pay through InstaMojo, you are also able to pay through your UPI, so not a problem. And when you pay through InstaMojo, you are going to get an auto reply with all of the necessary details about the WhatsApp group to join, and the Zoom details and everything. Okay, with that, let me address every question that is there in the chat, and I will try to answer all whatever is possible in the next 11 minutes. All right. So Rajesh, I have made the payment and received the payment confirmation. Welcome. Great. And Aarti is saying, have you got my payments? Aarti, I'm pretty sure right now, I'm not checking on the InstaMojo payments. I'm pretty sure if you have already paid through InstaMojo, I'm pretty sure, 100% sure that you will get a auto reply, and that auto reply has all of the details. Okay, and Vinod Kumar, yes, good evening, and I got your email address also. Thank you. All right. Okay, Siriamungu from Rwanda. If you are really, really interested, you can go to my website, to my landing page, which I have shared, and come into join my mailing list. That's how you can get in touch with me. All right. Okay, what are the other questions? Yes. Absolutely. You will, when you enroll, you will get the recordings of each and every session, so that in case you are not able to attend a session, you can still go through the recording and you will not miss anything. And in case that 6:45 to 8 o'clock time window is not suitable for you because of your work schedule or whatever, you can still benefit 100% out of this program simply by scheduling another time window, another 75-minute time window, going through the recording and practicing as though we were in a live session, and you are in the WhatsApp group and I will be available and accessible to you. That much I guarantee. All right. Any other question? Sushanta Saha, yes, and I want to thank you also for being in this session. And those of you who have enrolled, just type a I in the chat so I know to expect you. And okay. All right, great. So Pankaj, you are saying I have joined this group recently. I want to know what's going on in the class. We have been going on for the last 85 minutes, Pankaj. But to summarize very briefly, I am offering, we have gone through many breath practices, practical breath practices that help us on a everyday basis, and I'm offering a 7-day program that helps one learn many inner transformational practices. I have shared that with the group. So, all right, great. Thank you everyone for putting in that I in the chat. I really welcome. Now let me go into the Q&A window and okay. So there is a question, what are the charges for the 7-day journey? So the name is only showing in the Q&A window as anonymous attendee. So unfortunately, I cannot address you by name, but the question is, what are the charges for the 7-day program? And the first thing I would like to mention is that don't think of it as a expense. It is a investment. The investment is 750 rupees for the 2 batches, 1 batch starting on November 29th, yet another starting on December 13th. All right. Okay. Another question is, how many times a day should we practice conscious belly breath? And that is something that we have learned today. Until it becomes a unconscious breathing pattern, my suggestion is at least 3 times, ideally 5 times, each time spending 2 to 3 minutes, making the intention that this belly breath should become my normal unconscious pattern of breathing. So total time, even if you do it 5 times, 3 minutes every time, you're just spending 15 minutes, and do it until it becomes an unconscious breath practice. And not only are you going to get that deeper belly breath as a unconscious breathing pattern, but you all also become much more focused and centered when you spend those 3 minutes doing the practice. All right, let me look at the other questions. Kundrapakam Sudarshan, how to relieve from stress and anxiety. That is the exact process that we went through. Of course, that is only one of the practices of the many practices, but we have already covered that when we went through the hands-on practice of extended exhalation. Okay, coming into the last few minutes of our webinar, someone is asking, and again in the Q&A, for some reason it is not showing the names, it is only showing as anonymous attendee. I have chronic nasal blockage issues since 20 years age. I'm finding difficulty to follow your instructions, and I totally understand that chronic nasal blockage issues, and that is all the more a good reason for you to practice these breath practices so that you can actually clear the nasal passages through that. So and there are certain practices. Let me also mention, if you are really interested in clearing that nasal blockage issues, start the practice of Jalaneti. Jalaneti is the practice, yogic practice, where you are pouring lukewarm water through one nostril and letting it come out from the other nostril, and vice versa. So we have to take care of those internal nasal passages, and hopefully that will clear. But some of the breath practices also help at a deeper level. All right, let me look at Sadhna is asking how to heal from within. Sadhna, are you still there in the webinar? If you are there, yes, I'd be happy to answer that question. Type a yes in the chat if you are still there. Okay. All right, let me look at the other questions. Okay. Oh, yes. Absolutely. At the end of 7 days, the question in Q&A is, what do we get at the end of 7 days? Are we going to get some thing to practice along with? Absolutely. Of course, you are going to get access to the 7-day recordings that will be available to you even for 2 weeks after the 7 days, but you will also get a audio recording of the culmination of all of our practices, and that audio recording you can follow along with your practices. So you are 100% going to benefit in many ways than one, but it is only when you are convinced that you want to move ahead, when only you are convinced that you want to have that healthy body, mind, and soul, and that these holistic inner transformational practices coming from a very experienced mentor, if you are convinced that this is going to benefit you, then this program is for you. Otherwise, obviously, you have a different journey along your path. But irrespective of what your choice, even if you have chosen not to join the program that I'm offering today, and I cannot think of any good reason, maybe you have one, but let me humbly recommend to you, at least practice these two practices that I have given you, the extended exhalation, conscious belly breath, because I want you to benefit. And at some point, do take up holistic practices, even if it is not with me, it doesn't matter, but practices and principles are such that you can benefit, and I hope you get a good mentor. All right, any other questions, anything? Let me just share, for those of you who are interested in paying by Google Pay or Phone Pay, and not through InstaMojo, although InstaMojo allows you to pay through UPI. Here is the link. Here is the link, here QR code. And if you are paying through this, make sure that you take a screenshot of your payment and send a WhatsApp message to the number that you see on the screen, so that, and indicate in that message whether you want to join for the November 29th or December 13th batch. All right, so take this, and I am going to end this webinar. Let me stop the share and let me see if there is, I think I have addressed pretty much every question that you have mentioned. All right, good. And for those of you who have joined, in case you do not receive the auto reply, I mean, the auto reply, InstaMojo 100% sends the auto reply. But if you do not see that, and be sure to check your updates or promotions folder. And if you have any further difficulties, let me also share my personal email address, venkat@venkatrao.com. That is my email address. You can write to me. You can write to me at that email address. All right, with that, I hope each and every one of you has found value in this webinar. I want to thank each and every one of you for spending the last 90 minutes with me. And for those of you who have joined, I know that we are all going to have a very deep inner transformational journey. I thank you. I congratulate you on making this leap of faith, on taking this decision and joining me on this. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the class. And to everyone in the webinar, thank you all so much for being here. I wish you a very good evening. Have a wonderful life, and may you live your life to your fullest potential, and may you be happy and joyful. Thank you all so much. Namaste to everyone.